So today's lesson is called We That Wait. And that comes from one of the famous Bible verses, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. And the way I learned that verse really and can call it forward in a way is because there was a song that we sang in my choir with the Up Church. And I've looked for somebody on YouTube singing that version. I can't find that arrangement anywhere. So I'll give it to you. And Anita will start clapping at some point because I can't, it's hard to hold the microphone and clap. Anyway, it says, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not get weary. They shall walk and not faint. Teach us, Lord, how to wait. And then we sing that again. And then again, and a lot. Anyway, so those are all the traditional words that you would have heard in whatever other church you went to today. And so some of you are like, why are you saying those here? Because I gave those up. And some people don't care for the word Lord. So let's clear that one up immediately. Like, yeah, if you are thinking in the perspective of the traditional, there's a lot of challenging reasons why you may not want to have that word around. But when you look at it metaphysically, which is what we teach, then there's really good reason to connect with the Lord that is within you, that is you. That you are Lord, right? And so it's simply your higher state of consciousness that can rule over your peasant thoughts, which are the ones that are not serving you well, or the ones that can serve you well if they get controlled a little bit, if they've got somebody kind of ruling over, telling them what to do, and the them and the it's all you. And so, knowing that allows us to, when we have the one moment of thoughts, stop and say, those are feeling more like peasant thoughts to me. Let me get to Lord thoughts, because those peasant thoughts are about to start doing something that's just not going to serve me well. I'm going to spend my whole day mad at somebody about something that they said that they don't even know that they said it because they weren't even thinking about it or not even doing anything intentional. Or even if they were doing something intentional, they got their laughs for doing it intentional and moved on, and now you're carrying it for days, and they've moved on about their business. They were being jerks in the moment, but you've held on to jerk for 3 more days. So now who's losing in that deal? Oh no, I'm still thinking about what I'm gonna say to them. And I got involved in a friend's Facebook conversation that somebody was coming at him with stuff that wasn't true, and they were talking about Ford, and I knew about Ford because my uncle owned a Ford dealership in Parkway Ford in Winston-Salem, and so I knew what he was saying was wrong, and so I got in on that conversation, and then I emailed my friend and I said, look, I apologize, I jumped in on, he said, no, thank you so much, you are the master of zingers, and I am, but the way I got there was when I was in 6th grade really, I got picked on a lot. And then 7th grade, still getting picked on. Now we're in junior high. That's before there was middle school, And so, those were my years of really getting picked on. 8th grade too, still. But so in those years, like 2-3 days later, I'd think of the good thing I should have said to him then. And I kept thinking of them till they started coming out right when you said it. And I could shut you down in a minute. And then I enjoyed it because, see, I'd found a talent. And I'd say it, and they weren't expecting to hear it because most people think of it 3 days later. And so then that'd stun them a little, So, but then you finally realize that with that gift comes the emotional baggage. And you can't use that gift without the emotional baggage because it's the emotional baggage that created that talent. And so even when I did it, I don't know, 2-3 nights ago, when I was like, I'm going to get in on this conversation. I'm going to shut this down. I did, by the way. But not completely. Like that guy was like, well, what I was saying was, I'm like, no, what you said was. Anyway. So it still comes up, and I got a title now. I'm Reverend, and I still am a human being on the other side of Reverend. So when those things come up, they get to going. That's the peasant thoughts, saying, oh, well, I need to control this. I need to show them. See, the God in you doesn't need to show anybody anything, because it's a confidence that it only needs to be displayed if there's an insecurity that's actually not the confidence. And so so you get to that place, and then somebody's like, well, why didn't you say blah, blah, blah to them? I'm like, because they couldn't hear it. And it was a waste of my time and my energy. And if I said it, I was going to have to wear it for maybe even if I don't have to carry it a few days. I'm still going to have to wear it for a little while, because I had to put it on to say it. Like those things come with a uniform, or at least the hat, And I got rid of, I would like to say I got rid of my hat collection, but as of 2 days ago, I can prove I did not. So anyway, the other song, when I was searching for that arrangement of They That Wait, I couldn't find it, but I found a song I was reminded of a CD that I lost long ago by Juanita Bynum. And she wrote a song about the waiting. And it's just, I don't remember the words exactly right this second, but it's just I'm okay waiting. I'm okay waiting. Those aren't the exact lyrics, or I'd sing them to you. But, but just saying, I'm okay waiting. I'm okay waiting. Now, that's a challenge, because I've never particularly cared for sitting around waiting. I don't like people to be late. I think it's disrespectful. But, I've got friends. I have a friend when I lived in New York. We learned with her that you couldn't invite her to a group activity, that everyone had to be present before the group activity started, because she wasn't going to be 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 minutes late. She was going to be at least 20 to 30, and that's just how she rolled. You weren't asking her to change her watch. You were asking her to change her being. In fact, I'm certain right now that whatever she was supposed to be at today, she has not made it yet. And I've not seen her in 10 years, but we learned, but I still liked her, still wanted to hang out with her. I just learned that we had to do activities with her that we could go ahead and start, and she could join in when she got there, right? And then you could go on with that. But the real waiting that comes a challenge that's just in human nature. I don't have to ask y'all if y'all too have had this challenge, because I know it's just human nature, is there's this thing you want. And whether it's a actual material thing, or whether it's an activity of a thing, or whether it's the attention of a person, there's this thing that you want, and you're irritated because it's not shown up. And even if you've been working these principles that we teach at Unity, now you're really annoyed, because before you didn't know these principles, but now you got these principles, and now they still aren't showing up like magic, because you said the right words. You're like, I didn't even make it up. I read the affirmation that was written down. I read it, and it didn't happen. And it's like, well, that's there's still some waiting to do. And if you get to that, your God self waiting, you're not waiting. You're working on something else. There's a knowing, because if you're waiting in the sense of the connotation of what most of us think of waiting, it means you're paying attention to the non-existence of what you want to exist. So it can't exist, because you're fertilizing and feeding not existing, as long as you're like, I'm waiting for it to come. I'm waiting for it to come. So one of the lessons that I saw in this verse was the lesson of faith, right? And so faith is standing in a stormy day, looking out at the storm, saying, the sun's going to shine. I know the sun's going to shine. Not even just because I've seen it shine before. In this moment, in this big old dark gray stormy moment, I know the sun's going to shine. That's faith. Faith in action is standing there looking in the storm, looking for the sunshine. Because when expecting the sunshine, not looking for the absence of just knowing it's going to be there at some point. You so know it's going to be there, you're looking for it before it's showing itself. That's faith in action. That's the expectation. That's why Jesus said before healing someone, do you believe I can do this? Because if the answer is no, I'll go ahead to the next person because it's not going to happen because you're in charge of you. Jesus was not a magician. Jesus did not force healing on anybody. None of us can do any of that either. But I bet when you massage somebody, if they've got a knot in that shoulder, but they've intended to put it there, you can rub all you want. You might even ease it and get them out the door. By the time they get to the car, it's probably hurting again because they're, no, I'm still mad about this thing not showing. I'm still, or I'm still mad or sad or all those emotions that are okay. They're human emotions. And they're useful if you take them and say, okay, now I know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? And let me start staring out, looking for its arrival. I've read it at some different funerals or memorial services. I think it's a Russian poem about the ship going out. And while some people are standing on the shore saying, look at it go, there are people on the other side saying, here she comes, here she comes. And it's a beautiful thing to read at memorial services. But it's good to know, that's exactly what we're talking about here, is are you staring, watching it go, watching it not be a part of you anymore, or are you watching for it to come? Della used to say, some of y'all keep talking about waiting for your ship to come in. You ain't sent no ship out to come back. So, go ahead and start working on the ships. If you want a ship to come in, you can't make it come in. What you can do is keep planting the seeds of what it is you want to manifest. And then now you can expect. The looking for the sunshine is simply expecting the sunshine. You don't have to spend your entire day staring at the cloudy sky looking for it. You can go about your day knowing, the sun's shining. The truth is, we all now know because of planes. If you've ever taken off on a cloudy, rainy day, you have that bumpy moment getting through those clouds, and then suddenly there's this beautiful, bright, shining sun on top of white clouds at the same time that there was gray underneath. So, we don't even have to use faith. We just know it happens now. If it's a certain time of day, if it's not the time when you would see the moon, it's the time you see the sun. And if you're seeing the moon and you're like, I sure do wish it was daytime, you can look at that moon and say, well, the sun's shining because that's the only reason I can see the moon. So there's always a way to turn it, to flip it to what is serving me well, as opposed to what am I mad or sad about, right? The other part of this verse says, shall renew my strength, shall renew their strength. What is strength? We teach here at Unity that strength is one of our 12 powers. And we're not talking about the muscle-bound strength. We're talking about your mind. Everything that we teach here is about your thinking and your feeling nature. And so we're talking about your endurance and your perseverance. And so that's what we're talking about if it's a stormy day and you only like the sunny days. See, I sometimes have to stare out at those sunny days and say, the rain is coming. The rain is coming. I love the rain. And now that I own a house with a yard, I'm like, God is going to water my grass today. I don't have to do it because God's going to do it for me today, and I don't even have to pay the water bill for it. Right? So it's now see, somebody could say, well, why are you worried about paying a water bill? Don't you have enough prosperity thoughts? I can pay my water bill, but it's fun if I go buy napkins like I did yesterday for my brother brought me placemats that he found at the Dollar Tree. So they cost him $4, but I didn't have napkins that matched those placemats. So I had to go to Bed Bath & Beyond yesterday and spend $21 on 4 napkins to go with 4 $4 placemats. But it looks good now. So anyway, and I did that because it rained so much last week that God paid part of the water bill. Yeah. So Anyway, what we're saying is that when you're able to wait on, like, if you're having the negative thoughts, right? That's why you would want to wait on the Lord. That's why you would want to wait on your higher state of consciousness to step in and clear up the stuff, the BS, the belief system of the negative stuff, right? That's why you would wait on the Lord. And when you do that, it will renew your strength. It will renew your endurance, your perseverance in the moment of whatever that moment is. And then that allows you to mount up on wings like eagles. Now, what that means is it doesn't say you will have the strength. Eagles are strong, right? They're strong. But it's not saying that you're going to have the strength of the eagle. It's saying you're going to have the strength so much that you can sit up on the wing and just ride it out. So you don't even have to fly the eagle. You don't have to be the strength of the wing. You get to just ride on it like a free ride. Smooth, easy to go. And you can run and not be weary. That lesson does not require any metaphysics. Any of you who have ran know that at some point you will get weary of it. My dad once said to me when I was young, we drove past somebody running. He said, "You see that guy right there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "If I ever see one of those guys smiling and looking like they're having fun, I might consider doing that." And I now say, if you see me running, come help, because somebody's chasing me. And shall not walk and shall walk and not faint, right? So it's like, there's not going to be, like, if you get your divine strength of perseverance, then it's good. And you get that by waiting on the Lord, which isn't some old man sitting on a cloud. It's your mind saying, "Oh, wait, let me slip from the ego, human experience thoughts to my God self, where I can get the positive perspectives of this." Every one of you can give me an example of, like, well, this was bad. I don't care what you say. This thing that happened right here, they talked about it on the news, and it was bad. And I would agree with you in every case. But it's like, you go back to that Mr. Rogers lesson of when his mom said, when you're watching that stuff on the news, look for the helpers, because there's still something good happening. So just find the good wherever you can find the good and lock in on that and then ride that. Because regardless of what happened and regardless of how obviously bad it is, you're not going to help it by linking in to the bad, because now you're just fertilizing bad. And that doesn't serve you well. And you got to start there. Some people talk about that what we teach sounds like selfish spirituality. Well, if you want to help the world, you got to do it through you. So you got to get yourself lined up first. If you really want to be a help, you got to make sure that you're tuned and ready to go. Like the sports metaphor, which I have no business giving, they don't show up on those professional fields unpracticed, right? So that's why we pray and we meditate. And we meditate more than we pray, meaning my definition of that is the praying is when we're talking and the meditation is when we're listening. One mouth, two ears, double this one, right? And then that gets you in that place. And if you can do that at the top of your day, everything that you're going to walk through will be just a little bit easier to hear and to see. And if you're getting what would be termed the bad news, you can hear it in a way that can get you towards what's going to help you, as opposed to locking into the bad news. If you didn't meditate and you're hearing it and then you recognize, I'm caught up in the emotions of this bad news, that you can stop and say, oh, those are the peasant thoughts. Let me get to the Lord thoughts of this. Let me get to the place of where I can help myself. And then the others that are ready to help me can help me too. That's what we're talking about when we wait on the Lord, to renew our strength so that we mount up on wings like eagles.